Welcome back to another episode of How Did They Grow? I created this podcast because I wanted you to learn how other coaches, freelancers, service providers, and course sellers are growing their business, landing 10 to 20 new clients every single month, paying them 50, 100, 200K months. See, if they've done it, you can too. And that's just the reality. And I want you to listen to these podcasts to understand what strategies are they using, what techniques are they exploring, because it's in these gems that you can apply it to your business and actually scale things up. When you're ready and you feel like you actually want to learn practical, proven methodologies, or even you want to hire a team that can build you a profitable personal brand, book in a chat with our team because we can guarantee you go viral and guarantee you get clients for your business.
And welcome to the show, guys. This is the How Did They Grow podcast. And today we have on Andreas Peterson. Andreas, tell us a little bit about yourself.
First of all, thank you for having me. My background, originally Swedish, but I live in the US, in California, and everyone always asks me, by the way, when are you moving back to Europe? I'm like, nah, the weather is pretty good here, so I think I'll stay a little bit longer. My background is I'm a tech executive CEO that decided that the W-2 world and the grind wasn't worth it for me anymore. And today I help other entrepreneurs, executives, or board members to scale up their businesses or grow their leadership and their businesses in general.
Amazing. I really love what you said in terms of you decided that wasn't fulfilling. Tell us about that a bit.
So I started out as a software engineer, and I worked my way from the bottom to the top. I was an executive for over a decade, a CEO for 7 years of a company that was owned by Canon, large corporation, right? You know, camera manufacturers, printers. And the compliances, the bureaucracy, the processes, even though we were a standalone company, there's still a lot of things you have to go through in order to, manage politics, budgets, results, expectations. Now, I loved being a CEO. I loved helping other leaders become the best they can be, because I believe that growing people create growing organizations. And the more I grew the people, the more the organization would grow from a revenue results perspective. So it's extremely fulfilling. However, I think after a while, and doing it from 2007 to 2024, is like, it just, I don't know, I needed a break. And I realized I'm more passionate helping others. Like, it felt better. Last year, for example, I had some clients that I coached and mentored, and they send me a text message that is an amazing text message thanking me for something I did for them and how they changed the trajectory of their business. And then the next day, I win a multi-million-dollar deal for the company. I didn't feel anything. And I think when you get to that point where you're more happy about an individual's progress than the business, I'm not the best CEO for the company anymore. They wanted me to stay as we merged this company into another company. They offered me a very good increase for staying for 2 years, and I turned it down. And it was the hardest and the best thing I ever done.
Amazing. And what was it about coaching in particular? Like, obviously the coaching is something you love to do, but why business coaching? Why not something else? Is it because of your history in the business world?
There's a long story there. So most of my clients, I should start by saying, are either women or people of diversity. And the reason is I was brought up by a mother who taught me from day one that everyone is equal, everyone deserves an opportunity, and everyone have their diamond in the rough, right? And I'm very good at spotting diamonds in the rough and grooming them into something that is much more valuable, cutting them so they achieve their life purposes and their goals. And I think I got into it. It was actually my mother. She was born 1945, really smart, strong leader, but just grew up in a time where she didn't have the opportunity to study or to do certain things. And I grew up with just my mother, more or less. My father was barely in the picture. I realized recently, why am I coaching and helping all these other people? Because I'm indirectly actually helping my mother, who maybe never had the opportunities that she should have had she grown up in a different time.
Amazing, amazing. So that's really deep rooted. That's really deep rooted, and I love that. I love
Didn't
that. I love
realize it
that.
until recently, though. After like doing it
Oh,
for over like 12, 13 years, I've been helping people for free. And it wasn't until the beginning of 2024 I started charging for it. It took me that long, and I'm not kidding. 3-4 weeks ago, it just came to me because I'm working on a book right now, and as we were doing
amazing.
the introduction of that book, I'm sitting there. I'm like, this is the reason. Like, I am giving others an opportunities that wouldn't have been there if it wasn't for me. That's
Amazing, amazing.
fun.
Well, it's amazing when you get those epiphanies, you know.
Scary almost.
Amazing. Scary too, yeah. So tell us, you quit, so you left Canon, you said early 2024, right?
No, late 2024.
So you're pretty new. I mean, you're not new, but in terms of monetizing the business, you're new.
I started
Yeah.
monetizing the business around Q3 last year. And
Okay.
that's where I really started charging as I was exiting from the merger and it was all settled. Then I started saying, okay, I need to charge for this. Like I said, was doing it pro bono very long time. Yeah, and it's gone, like, I was surprised. I put out the price out there and I thought this is way too much for what people want to pay. And then like that, I had 5 clients based on previous people I worked with that recommended me, and they were paying that amount. And yeah, I don't know if people put out their number, but I made good money pretty quickly, actually. And then this year and the problem was I was going all different directions. And I was sort of experimenting, figuring out what it is that I was doing. Now I have cleared it up much more clearly. So now I have 3 separate offerings, and I just don't take on anyone anymore, basically. I had to stop because I got too busy.
Yeah, that's one thing about, what you've done, right? In terms of you started working with people for free over the years, you are getting better yourself. You're getting in more data. You're honing your craft. That has allowed your fulfillment to be close to 100%. And now you're reaping that. You're reaping that benefit of people vouch for you. You said you launched your offer and you got 5 clients at a very, very high ticket. Why? Because you've been able to hone in your craft. You reverse engineer the marketing, as they say.
Yeah, and all the years I was CEO, I was grooming people in the organization up to higher leadership positions. What is interesting though, Mike, is when I started this, I thought I was only going to work with CEOs and founders. What ended up happening after a few months, so we were now in November, December timeframe, was that several CEOs came to me and said, I have this rising star or this vice president or senior vice president. I want to promote them one day, but I'm not sure they're C-level material, executive, like true C-level leadership. Can you work with them and level them up? And when I looked back here in February, early March, I realized, and I've in this time frame, I now have had worked with 16, 17 clients as I was ramping this up. Half of them were vice presidents, and they were either being groomed into a C-level position by the CEO, or they reached out to me and say, hey, you coach and advise or do business strategy, leadership for all these C-levels. Do you take on VPs as well? Because I've been trying to figure out how I get promoted. So I started doing that, and with really, really, really good results. Like within 4 to 6 months, remember, again, I did this pro bono before, but I've been getting people now into C-level positions. I've been getting them more authority, more of a lot of other things. It's been kind of interesting to pivot.
Amazing, amazing. So just to kind of get some clarity for those of us who are not in the corporate world, C-level, is it below the VP level? What is that?
No. So vice president. So the levels are director, and then you go to a vice president or a general manager or a head of.
Okay.
And C-level is the chief financial officer, chief executive officer, the top of the company.
Okay.
The C-levels are, like I said, all the C-suites are like a chief technology officer, a chief financial officer, a chief sales marketing, a chief executive officer, operations, and so on. These are the people who makes the most money. So I help people from that middle layer up to the top.
Amazing.
Thank you for clarifying. I just talk about it like it's
yes.
I hope you're enjoying this podcast. I hope you're taking notes. I hope you're learning so much practical wisdom, because that's what I really wanted from this podcast. Now, I just want to quickly say, if you're looking for a team that can actually help you explode and go viral with your personal brand with proven methodologies, I say this because I've been doing this for the past 5 years. We've got a team of 30 people who are ready to go ahead and explode your brand so you can get clients begging to work with you. Have a chat with one of our advisors. You can book in a chat using one of the links around this video, because that chat might just change your life.
So how does that, let's talk about how that makes you feel. I know we touched about that, but how does that make you feel now that you're monetizing it? But you're not monetizing it because you need the money necessarily. You're monetizing it. Just break that down. I just want to let you cook and tell us how that feels.
Here's what I noticed. I'll say this first about the monetizing aspect. Either you do something for free or you charge based on what the value is that you're creating. I found myself that if I charge too little, I start feeling resentment, because if the other person are not then doing what they're supposed to be doing, and I put in all my effort. Now, if it's completely free, I have sort of set my mindset in a weird way that I can end it at any time. But if someone is paying me, I go beyond to deliver value for that person. If I charge too little, or I would have discounted, which I did last year, I feel resentment. I'll just throw out the number. Some people I charge $5,000 a month for 1 hour a week. Other people I charge $10,000 a month last year for 1 hour per week. The difference is that I will only then when a person that has a $10,000 problem and someone with a $5,000 problem, or 5,000, let's say that they both have a problem and it requires me urgently, because part of my service is, if you have a problem, pick up the phone and call me. I'll clear my calendar for you and I'll just solve your problem for half a day if that's required. And I had a situation, this was actually in November last year, where I had 2 people and both were like, I need you right now this week. And I felt so bad for the $10,000 person because I was helping the 5,000. So after that, I decided it's one price, no discount, no negotiation. It is what it is. And now I charge $7,500 per client a month. And the reason is both this, but it's also, I have an ethics. And I know it sounds like a lot of money for a lot of people. I'm not kidding. I'll save you years. The CEOs I've worked with, you can go to my website, you can go to my YouTube. I have a lot of different places where people leave customer testimonials. People are expressing like, wow, you saved me 2 years after working with you for 3 months. Or one person, they had a 30% revenue growth this first Q1 after the changes we made in Q4. 30%. So she's like, I made back, and that's already a company that makes over $6 million a year. So she's like, the amount I paid to you are like, it's not even worth the salt on the peanuts compared to what I made in Q1. But my point is how I feel. So money now aside, because I wanted to get that out there, because I believe there's a lot of people who undercharge for their services based on the value they are creating. I feel amazing. Like if I have a shitty day, Mike, like I have a phone, I have an album on my phone. Every time someone have sent me a text message, or like I just told you, I made her 30% more in Q1. I have all of that. I have print screened it. And when I feel shitty, I open up the album and I just swipe through all the images of people thanking me. And I'm like, I know I'm doing what I love to do. It's my purpose in life. Japanese have an expression, ikigai. It's the sort of center of, and I learned this working for a Japanese company, but it's like the center of what fulfills you, what the world needs, what you can make money at, and what you're good at. And I feel when I have helped people, it's an amazing feeling. It's not about money at that point. With that said, like I said, because of resentment, I do believe you have to charge for your services.
Definitely, and I do agree with you that you're better off doing it for free than doing it on a really, really low pay, because you're going to hate the person, you're going to hate the job, you're going to hate this ikigai of yours.
Yeah, exactly. So I am like, either I go the value I create 100%, or I do it for free. Do I still do for free? Absolutely. I still help people who can't afford me that I believe needs a second chance. Every time someone reach out to me on Instagram and have a problem and they ask me for help, I do spend time usually even leaving a voice memo for them of what I think they should look into and do themselves. I believe in giving back, but it's like I said, I realized that trick on my brain. It's all or nothing.
Yes, definitely, definitely. I like the fact that you brought up Instagram. Kind of get into that. How has your journey been with social media?
When you work in the corporate world, it is not okay, especially if you work in a cybersecurity in a security company, to put out a lot of things on social media. So I've been using LinkedIn for years, but it's a very buttoned up corporate way of doing it. Beginning of 2024, someone in my network goes, look, you have a voice, you have a lot of things to say. And I was actually helping this person with some of her business issues. And she goes, why the beep are you so selfish and not sharing your knowledge with the world? So I'm like, and after much dragging back and forth, I started my Instagram account, or I had one, but it was only for like family and baby photos. And then it grew quite a lot last year. Partly, and it was one of those, I kept posting and posting and posting, and I was getting nothing for it. And then I had one video that had, what was it? I think 1.3 million views or something like that. And I had like 7,000 followers from one video. And it was so weird. It's a vanity metric, but was interesting. And even what I said in that video had nothing to do with what I do, which was frustrating. And then I had a few more, and I grew a following to about 16, 17,000 people. And now I'm actually deleting a lot of them because there's a lot of crap in there as well. Because what I noticed is that they just spam you, or they are negative comments. So I'm doing the opposite of everyone else. I'm deleting the people I don't want on there. But I would say start sooner. Always start sooner. And you can't think your way through it. I meet so many people, Mike, that are afraid, and they need to recalibrate fear to unfamiliar and just do it. The only way they can get rid of the feeling, take action, do it. So today I'm much more active, but with that said, I still haven't figured out the game yet. I don't understand. I don't think you can understand the algorithm. I don't think you know what's going to hit or not hit. So the only thing you can do is keep putting content out there, and sooner or later something hits. I will add this though. Many of my clients that that I'm working with right now, they have found me on LinkedIn or on Instagram.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. So you've kind of, before it was a lot of referrals, now it's mostly social media is playing a big role.
50-50, I would say. I still get a lot of referrals. I narrow down who I'm working with a little bit as well. And I need action takers, like people who I had to fire clients end of last year. And I don't understand it. People pay me premium money, and they're not honest with themselves. They say, here's what I'm going to do, and they don't end up doing it. And then I'm like, why are you wasting my time? Like, I think life is long if you know how to use it, but it's so frustrating when I pour my heart and soul. Like, when I work with people, it's not just 1 hour a week. Like, I text you almost every single day. If you have a problem, if you need an introduction to a network, if you're raising capital, I put you in front of people. Like, I really help you. Like, you're on my mind. If you're one of my clients, you're on my mind. I will do whatever it takes to make them successful. And if you then meet me and you go, I have to do this, I should do this, I should do this, this is what I'm going to do, and you lie to yourself, I don't want to work with you. So I had to let go of two people end of last year.
Amazing, amazing. No hard feelings. Amazing. I wanted to ask something. It kind of slipped out of my head. Okay, yeah, I remember. You spoke about the algorithm, right? The thing about the algorithm, a lot of people get this misconception, right? I like what you said. A lot of people say, the thing is, the algorithm at the end of the day is people. You understand? What Instagram does, this is just a little nugget for those of people listening in the audience. What Instagram does, right? You put out a piece of content. What they do, they send it to your followers and a little bit of some other people who are not your followers, a little bit of a foreign audience. They send it to your followers. Now, depending on how your followers react to it, right? That depends how much Instagram pushes it up, which is why most people tend to go viral once and never go viral again. Why? Because they go viral once, they get a lot of people who are not interested in their stuff actually following them. And when that happens, Instagram says, okay, these are your followers now. You put out another video. These people don't like that because that's not what they followed you for, right? Then they don't engage with that. Then they scroll away. Then your engagement starts to
that's
plummet.
what happened to me. I went from thousands and a lot of engagement now down to, now that I talk only about leadership, mindset, business, like I can be in the 300s to 400s views and not the retention or anything. Why? Because it was really 3 videos. The first one, I ended up in the hospital and I just like, hey, watch out if this happens to you. These are the signs. And I have heart issues. So I put a video out. And that's the one that had like 1.3 million views and 3,000 comments and other shit and haters. And I was just trolling them back. But the issue is a lot of them led to followers and they have no interest in what I'm doing. I even thought about starting a whole new account and trashing the account I have, or doing 2 separate accounts where I keep the one I have just because it's there and then post on a brand new account that is all leadership, all mindset, all A player, like how you become an A player and get the results in your life.
You know what I will tell you? I'll tell you that is not a bad idea. You know why? Because you sell high ticket. It's not going to affect you in any way. You know what I mean? If you're selling high ticket, it doesn't matter how many followers you have. It absolutely does not matter.
How many converts? Everything else is vanity metric. And
exactly.
I'm like,
Everything else is vanity.
$100 and sell to 100 people, then have 1 million followers and sell to 10.
Like, as so you're selling high ticket, you only probably need 5 people or 10 people at a time. You know what I mean?
I actually cap it at 5 because I also I do real estate as well. And I run a real estate investment fund. I do private money lending. I do angel investments. Like I have a family, I got 3 boys at home. Like the thing is, amazing. I try to not go have too many. I had too many last year and it made me distracted.
Yes,
so
yes,
I try to have it at 5. And then right now I'm working on, because I got several people who are interested in the whole VP career thing. So I'm actually putting together like a peer group for how to go from president to C-level. And I'm going to put that together as a cohort instead. And that way they still get the same focus, but as a peer group learning, because I can't take on as many.
Amazing. I think that's amazing. And let's kind of get, as we come to the end of this has been really amazing. What is kind of your goals for 2025 with you, your business, and the social media in general? Where is kind of, and the podcast as well? Let's speak about that. What is the goal?
I have a few goals. Always they're too ambitious. This is back to me being a very overachiever personality. So I'm writing a book currently. I want to launch my podcast, and I am launching my podcast here in Q2. Where I will be interviewing, it's going to be called Successful Exits. I will interview entrepreneurs that have sold their companies or about to, or people that have exited out of a bad marriage, a bad relationship, moved from one country to the next. Because I believe that people mentally change who they are and they're not prepared for that. And they give up a piece of their identity when they make such a life transition. And then the other thing I'm doing is I'm not starting. I'm running my second cohort now of the VP Career Advisory. And then I'm trying to figure out how to have a little bit more one-on-one clients, 7 maybe, but I think that's where I will cap it. What else am I doing? Business, like real estate wise, we are raising capital. We raised here in February, March, we raised $1.7 million and acquired 1 park. The goal is to raise for about 5 more parks this year. We're about to start racing now for the next one. We just closed on one 3 weeks ago, and now we're going to go after and close another one. So the goal is to raise an additional almost $10 million this year. And then in addition to all of this, my goal for the year is to be an amazing dad. I spent last year with the merger, with this what I was working on, I spent too little time with them, and they need me. And I want to spend, so I have an 8, a 10, and a 12-year-old, and my 10-year-old has autism as well. So he counts as 2. Love him to death, but he counts as 2 sometimes. So I want to spend more time with them. I want to have a harmony between all the things I do and having family time with them. And I grew up without a father. I am here, I'm present, I'm with my kids every day, but I also want them to have great memories.
Yeah, definitely. And I really do respect that in terms of when a lot of people grow up without a father, or even some people with a father who is not present. Sometimes fathers take it upon themselves to be the quote unquote hustler, and they don't care about anything else except providing. You know what I mean? So I really do love the fact that you was trying to say, I do appreciate my dad, wherever he is, whatever he did, but like, I'm going to be different in terms of I'm going to be present.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not going to make it generational.
Amazing.
But I understand. He had a tough life. He didn't have a choice. So that's why he made the choices he made. He passed when I was young. Well, he passed when I was 23. So 22 years ago. But it doesn't change the fact that I want to be there for my kids. And all these years, Mike, when I was CEO and I was traveling around the world and working a lot, I feel like I missed out a lot of time. So part of me is kind of recouping a lot of that right now.
Yeah, and that's one thing about the corporate world, man. I really don't like the corporate world, I'll be honest.
There has pros and cons. If you're very risk averse, it's great. I think if anyone listens to this that is contemplated leaving the corporate world, I highly recommend that you build a side business. Like you pointed out, Mike, I was coaching and advising people for 13, 14 years, 12, whatever it was, like before I started charging for it. Like start perfecting your skill already now, then build it as a side business, slowly lean into it. I would say win at least 3 to 5 customers, whatever you do. If you're a coach, whatever you do, no matter what business it is, when you have done that, then get the testimonials, do your social media, talk about the journey, and then make the call to leave the corporate world.
Definitely. Because as you said, I mean, it works for some people, especially people who are, I don't want to use the word scared, but like people who hate risk, as you said, risk averse, and they like security is the biggest thing for them. They want to know that, okay, next month I'm going to get this paycheck, and I don't want to have to think about that too much. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And what's the worst thing that can happen? You can always go back and take another job.
You can always go back. So why not take that risk, especially if you're young, especially if you're not in a position where you have people to provide for? You know what I mean?
Exactly. And but you would be surprised. The whole risk averseness. I would say if there's one advice I would leave with anyone, it is you can never think your way through fear. You have to take action and just do it. Regardless of where you're at in a level, how successful he is, everyone have it. The difference is one person take action, the other don't. And small micro actions in the beginning, even if it's just picking up the phone and making one phone call, one video a week. No, it doesn't matter what you do. Just do something to slowly familiarize your brain into this new mantra. And I'm not kidding, like Mike, I'm helping C-levels who run 8-figure businesses, and they are struggling with this as well, because their fear is losing their business.
Exactly.
They become stagnant. So it's the same. It works on all levels, and especially sadly, there's women are, and I'm stereotyping a little bit, women are a little bit more risk averse than men, but often they are taking way more calculated and better risks as well. So they can take more risks. Several of the men I help, they should be taking less risks. So
definitely.
There.
Amazing. This one has been really great. Let me just ask you, what is something you wish I asked you on this one?
What's the one thing I regret in life?
What is the one thing you regret in life, Mr. Andreas Peterson?
I regret not killing my imposter syndrome earlier in my life. I did it when I was in my early 30s, 32, 33. If I had really got curious on what imposter syndrome is or being an insecure overachiever early on, I think I would have lived, I live a great life. Like, I'm happy. Life is amazing. But I would have stopped battling myself earlier in life and realized that I was in the way for my own success. It wasn't until I realized that where my career trajectory just went straight up.
Amazing, amazing. I like to think of things like you're here now and you're happy. It's because it wasn't delayed in a way. Like, you know what I mean? If you'd have done it earlier or you'd have done it later, you wouldn't be where you are today.
I wouldn't be ready.
Yes, exactly. It happened when it was supposed to happen. That's the way I like to think of it. I appreciate you sharing that. So this has been great. This has been great. Where can the people go to find out and learn more about what you do?
Instagram, if you want to talk to me directly, I reply to all DMs. I don't have someone else doing it, but don't demand like, I need 2 hours of your time. Like, ask me what the problem is, or tell me what the problem is. Ask me for a solution. I'll reply. My Instagram handle is Andreas the CEO. If you want to, everyone I coach, all the problems I'm helping other people solve, I try to always turn the bigger problems into a blog post. If you go to leadersadapt.com and click the blog there, I have a lot of blogs on there or other materials. I try to help people that can't afford to work with me. That's a good resource. And then what's the last thing I want to promote? If you are stuck as a vice president, I did a career assessment. Ping me on Instagram and I'll send it to you. It gives you a career assessment, where you're at, what your gaps are, and what it is that you need to fix to get to the next level. Again, if you can't afford to work with me, you can at least use the steps and the tools, and it will get you somewhere very quickly.
Amazing, amazing. This has been really amazing, and I'm sure that people will reach out to you. Yeah, this has been amazing, man. This has been amazing. Hopefully we can have you on some other time as well.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate this. And I told you before we started, I love the concept of what you guys are doing. You're helping other coaches, mentors, advisors, and you're also emphasizing the importance of social media and finding your voice.
Yes, yes. You know, it's funny because that's actually our catchphrase or our line is find your authentic voice. And we help people do that, to find their authentic voice.
And you did not pay me to say that. That was my own reflection.
Yes, definitely. This has been great.
I really hope you enjoyed this podcast. I want you to go away and execute everything there is that you've learned. Now, one thing I will say is if you're in a position where you're ready to actually take things to another level, you want structured, clear guidance, you want a team that can actually help accelerate you, book in a chat with our advisors. Why? We can blow up your personal brand to attract clients begging to work with you. All you got to do is book in a chat with our advisors and we can help make it happen. Sound fair enough?